You are listening to the Bastards of Boston Baseball. We are going to switch it up tonight. We are going to do a series called Killing Time, where we discuss a random non baseball topic. And we're in the slow season now. That's why we're doing this. There's not a lot of buzz. A lot of the free agents are picked over. The Red Sox, I'm guessing, are mostly exploring the trade market right now. So we're just kind of waiting for news. And as news develops, we'll be here to cover it as always. I would expect at least one baseball show a week and then one from the Killing Time series, which we're going to get really creative with. And I would expect this, like I said, once a week through, I don't know, most of the way through spring training. So I am Terry Cushman, joined tonight by Doug Aitchison, and we are going to discuss our favorite 1990s pro wrestlers, WWE, WCW, and then in the second part of the segment, we will get into some of our favorite pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So this isn't going to be for everyone, and we know it. I mean, some of these could be music related, and some of you guys are going to love that, but hate this, or vice versa. But we're going to try to find some inclusive stuff. But Doug and I kind of grew up in the 90s, and you know,
grew up on wrestling.
What a time. What a time to be a wrestling fan back then.
You couldn't go to school without being told to suck it.
Yeah, exactly. Or do the sign, with your arms. That's funny. So you got into it with your brothers.
I did, yeah. I pretty much was born into it because I have older brothers. So there's actually I was born in 91 and Survivor Series 93 was in Boston. And my dad brought my brothers, and if you watch it, you can see them on screen the whole time. They're like 6 rows up.
Oh,
and
nice.
So I was too little to go to that one, but yeah, like by the time I could watch, I was watching. Grew up with it my whole life, and even the ones that I missed, my dad had everything on VHS, recorded everything, so I just grew up. I watched it like every day when I was growing up.
One of my mom's best friends ran a daycare, and she had a son that was close to my age. He was probably 2 grades above me, but he got me into it, and we would have like wrestling matches and all that, and I'd get the crap kicked out of me because he was way bigger, and that's just,
I know that, yeah.
That's what a 90s childhood is. And my brothers kind of were into it a little, but not as fanatical as I was. So it wasn't a family thing like it was for you. It would have been more fun. Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to kick this off with a draft, and Doug and I are going to pick our 6 favorite. We'll take turns. So once they're picked, they're picked. You might snipe me. You might take one of my favorites or vice versa. So as some of you may know, I do a cribbage related podcast, and we do drafts on there, and it could be food related. It could be movie related. So this is kind of something I'm used to, and we flip a coin to decide who's going to get the first pick. So I'm going to have you pick it. So what are you going, heads or tails?
Tails.
All right. Oh, it's heads.
Oh.
I'm going to take the first pick.
Okay.
I think I've probably said this. If you're a diehard listener of this podcast, it's probably came up once or twice. Huge Bret the Hitman Hart fan. I was grounded for half of my childhood for putting my brothers in the sharpshooter. And just so many epic matches, WrestleMania 97 with Stone Cold, one of the more historic matches of all time.
It's my favorite match of all time.
I'm not going to say my favorite Bret Hart match because we're going to get to that pay-per-view later on.
That's fair.
But yeah, just so many great ones. And he came up the old school way, was a tag team champion, intercontinental champion.
Yep.
Beat Mr. Perfect for that.
Yep.
And held I just learned this a week or so ago. He's the only wrestler in that era who held the Winged Eagle championship belt 5 times.
Wow.
Nobody else did. Hogan had some of the different 80s versions, and I'm trying to think of who had it multiple times. I just can't remember.
Yeah, not
Undertaker
many.
had it. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot there was a lot of one-time champs during that time.
Yeah. And
And
that's my
that's the
favorite.
best belt too.
Yeah, I would say that one and
The
the
best one.
Intercontinental belt,
Yes,
like the 90's belts were the best. Now they're just
definitely.
these huge hunks of metal.
I know.
I'm
They're not
sure
as good.
kids today are into them, but
Yeah,
not
I'm
me.
sure. Yeah,
All
no,
right.
I mean, yeah, Bret Hart, you just it's just the perfect pick.
I'll say this though, I watch a lot of shoot interviews, especially where I drive a
Yeah,
truck.
yeah.
So, or I listen to them rather. Obviously, I don't watch stuff in the truck,
Yeah,
but he does complain a lot, and it kind of gets
yeah.
old.
His post-career hasn't been the best, I will say
I
that.
I mean, he has the coolest story of all time. Like nobody's gonna have a Montreal screw job
Right,
to talk about.
and no one knocked out Vince.
Exactly
So,
right.
he
So
always has that.
he's got two cool stories, but I
Definitely.
think he could just say more about some great matches he had.
Yeah.
I mean, he praises the Undertaker a lot and
Yep.
some other things. And
Yeah, I mean,
I
he
do
was so pivotal to so many things. He actually created the ladder match.
right,
He was the
right.
he told them, you know, they used to do this thing in Canada. It was a lot. They'd put the belt up and they'd have a ladder match, and it never happened in WWE before ever, or WWF at the time. And then the first one was Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon was the first one ever, and it was all Bret's idea.
Yeah, I heard a story that SummerSlam 92 was supposed to be in the United States. It got moved to England, but had it been in the United States, Brett would have dropped the title to Shawn in a ladder match.
Yeah.
But plans got switched, and then
Yep.
Shawn and Razor had that big one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Brett would have been my number one pick for sure.
Oh, he would have? Oh, okay.
100%.
Oh, I would have.
So,
Good thing I
so,
won the coin toss.
I know. So, it's a very personal pick. When I was a kid, my dad ran the food service at Fenway. You know, he ran the restaurant, the buffet, and everything. And he had us come in for a game. Me and my brothers, he had us come in for a game one time. We like 100 times, and we're just chilling. We used to get to go to the 600 Club. It was at the time, sit in the restaurant and just kind of chill, watch the games when we were little. And he comes down. He's like, "All right, guys, here, come get some food. I have a friend that's gonna eat lunch with you guys." And we walked up, and it was Bret the Hitman Hart
Oh, nice.
sitting there, and me and my brothers got to have lunch with him and spend like some time with him, and it was the greatest day of our lives. And I know we never forgot it. And since that day, you know, he was our guy forever.
The cool thing about Brett also was he was the first guy after the Hogan era and really the whole 1980s where they didn't have a big, massive muscle head guy. Like, I mean, when he was the Intercontinental Champion, he was the stereotypical Intercontinental Champion,
Yeah.
smaller guy, not super great on the microphone. And when he beat Ric Flair, which was at a house show, if it was on TV, I didn't get to see it at the time. I have seen it on YouTube since. But even as a 9-year-old in 1992, when he beat Flair for the title, I knew it was different. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is different from the Hulk Hogan type guys. And I think that's another reason why I liked him. And as a kid, I was kind of on the smaller side. All my friends were bigger than me. You know, I was shorter,
Sure.
skinnier, so
Yeah,
I don't
technique. That's why he was
yeah.
just the best in-ring performer ever. The
Yeah.
excellence of execution.
And the debate for life is, who is better, Brett or Shawn? I will
Right.
die on the hill every time.
100%. 100%.
For-
Shawn's
for-
great.
Yeah.
You know, Shawn's great in the ring, great performer. But no, Brett created moves. He did so many things. He flawlessly never hurt anybody, took care of all his opponents, even when he didn't like them. You know,
That's true. He always prided himself on how safe he was. And
Yep.
then ironically his career ended because he was recklessly kicked in the back of the head by Bill Goldberg.
Right.
Yeah, who will not be on my list, by the way.
No, I won't be mentioning Goldberg.
Okay. Goldberg did have a cool entrance song, though.
Yeah, no, he had his run, and it was cool.
Yeah, he just put people in wheelchairs practically.
Right.
But yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So who's your first pick?
All right. So my first pick. There's no other way to go. Right. It's really the GOAT. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, he would have
It's
been my second. Yeah.
there's no other way to go. He he changed the business 100%. I mean, WWE was going down, WCW was crushing it, and for good reason. If you go back and watch, the WCW was putting out a better product like 95, 96, 97-ish, and then Stone Cold wins the King of the Ring, says Austin 316 says I just whooped your ass, right? Or just off the cuff. It
Yeah.
becomes the biggest selling shirt of all time. It becomes everything, and it changes the business forever. And he didn't have as long a run as a lot of guys did, but he had the hottest run of all time, and he was the biggest draw the business ever saw at that time.
Yeah, and so I'll say this, I was a huge Stone Cold fan, and I was probably even more fanatical about him, but it just doesn't
Yeah.
tug on my childhood heartstrings.
No,
And
I get it. Yeah.
unfortunately for my parents, what a hell of a time in my adolescence for Stone Cold to come on. I was like 13,
Yeah.
grounded all the time, mouthy as hell, and
Yeah.
influenced by Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was
Oh yeah.
always, him being after Vince was like me being after my parents. Like,
Right.
I never gave my mom the Stone Cold Stunner, but I mean,
Right. Right. Maybe a
or any
couple of
other thing.
fingers behind closed doors.
Yeah, exactly. When she'd turn around,
Yeah.
flip her off. With her
Yeah.
yeah, it was funny. But when that glass shattering
Oh,
sound happened, man, it was so electric.
it was. And you go back and you look up like the biggest pops of all time. Most of them are him, because it's
Yeah.
just and part of it's that glass shattering. It's you don't have to wait around to listen to the music for a second to know who it is. The glass
Yeah.
shatters, you know who it is. He comes running out. The place is just insane immediately.
Right. And the other thing too was initially, and I think he was still a heel at the time, I hated his finishing move. I'm like, "Oh, that's so dumb," but it
Yeah.
ended up being one of the more brilliant ones
Yeah.
because, with Bret Hart, the sharpshooter takes a couple of seconds. Like he
Right.
can never really put it on by surprise.
Right.
Austin could hit the stunner
Yeah.
anywhere
Out of
from any
nowhere.
angle, and it ended
Yeah.
up becoming this brilliant finishing move. My friends and I would do it on each other at school real
Oh
quick.
yeah.
We'd sneak up and just bam,
Oh yeah. I've been
uh,
stunned a million times. A million times. I
yeah.
had two older brothers, and we would just wrestle all the time. And yeah, the stunner was a finishing move we could actually do to each other. So
Yeah,
said and
and
done.
another thing, because it ties in with Bret Hart, their match at WrestleMania
Yep.
13, which was in Chicago,
Yep.
that wasn't like a great WrestleMania. Like I think
No.
that match kind of carried the show. I mean, the main event was okay, but when you have two
Right.
big guys like that, it's just not going to be a technical match.
Yeah.
But it was so historic because it was a double turn. Austin came into it as a heel, left as a baby face. Brett
Yep.
came in as a baby face, left as a heel. And, people debate like, when did the Attitude Era start? And I think it started with that match. Some people
Yeah.
say, well, no, it wasn't until the screw job. But to me, it was
No.
always that match was the
Yeah.
so much history happened and changed course all in that one match.
100%. 100% it did. If you go back and watch, you can see the crowd change. You can feel it change. You can see the cheers starting to go for Austin louder and louder. And then when Brett wins and he holds the hold for longer and he does a little bit of heel stuff, he kicks Austin, and the crowd turns on him completely, boos him. When he's walking out, people are flipping him off right in his face, and that was it. And Austin had a rocket up his ass after that, because Vince saw it and knew this is the guy to really take us to the next level.
It was such a great story because
Yeah, their feud was great.
they both literally went over in that match. Like
Yeah.
it was a submission match. Austin didn't give up. He
Right.
passed out literally in a pool of his
Yep.
own blood.
Yeah. Ken
And
Shamrock, special referee.
Yeah, and like you said, when Brett like started kicking him after the match, like just cheap shotting him, that just
Yeah.
kind of sealed it. Like if the crowd
Right.
wasn't sure he was a heel, they knew it then.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and in a Bret Hart shoot interview, I only heard this probably in the last year. Vince was trying to convince him to turn heel, but Bret didn't want to because he was making so much money off merchandise.
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, you'll only be a heel in the United States, but you'll be a hero everywhere else." And he said, and Bret said he didn't want to. And Vince goes, "Well, just give me 5 minutes and I'll convince you." He goes, "If you stay a babyface, you're going to work with basically Vader, and everybody hated working with Vader because he was
Yep.
like Goldberg. He always hurt people, and
Yeah.
there's these stories how he'd never wash his gear and he was always gross and
Yeah.
stunk. And so, but then, if you turn heel, you can work against Shawn, you can work against Undertaker.
Right.
The matches were so much better if he turned
Yeah.
heel. So that's what
Yeah, and they
got it.
did. They did that whole America versus Canada angle. And he had
Yeah,
him and Owen and Bulldog, and yeah, and it was great. It was good.
yeah.
It was great.
And the other thing, it's weird because we're pivoting back to Brett so much,
Yeah,
even though,
yeah, yeah.
but
They're intertwined a lot.
the other thing though that I should have mentioned, if they didn't decide to kind of terminate Brett's contract and get him to go to WCW, I really think the Hart Foundation could have somewhat rivaled the NWO. I
Definitely.
think because you could have had non-Hart
Yeah,
people in there
yeah,
if you had to.
yeah. They had Brian Pillman.
Yeah, for a little
Yeah,
while. I think that was the year he passed away.
yeah.
His
But yeah, I
wife
mean,
just
Austin and
died.
them could have. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They could have had feuds with Austin. They could have had feuds with DX,
Yeah.
and I mean,
Eh,
they did, and they could have kept going. Yeah, it's a shame that it happened that way because Brett could have had a way longer career and done a lot more with a lot more people.
yeah. And I think I'm guessing Brett would have held the title to WrestleMania. I mean, it just seemed natural to have an epic rematch
Yeah,
1 year later.
definitely.
And yeah,
Yeah,
and the other thing too that I've never been able to find out, like Brett won the title for the last time in August of '97 at SummerSlam. And then the screw job was 3 months later at Survivor Series. If they
yeah.
knew they were gonna terminate his contract, why did they put the title on him?
I
Why couldn't
think
the Undertaker just keep it?
yeah, I don't know if at that time if they even knew, but I think it might even been between that time when Vince said, I can't do this contract anymore, but I don't know. I don't know. I haven't got that answer either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've always wondered that, but no, none of the shoot interviews ever
yeah.
do it. So
And last thing on Austin, yeah, his first title win was against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14, Boston, Mass. Mike Tyson, special referee, and I was in attendance for that. Me and my whole family were in attendance for that, and uh, it was great. One of the best memories I have as a child.
yeah, it's one of my it's not the GOAT WrestleMania for me, but
No, no,
it's
but
one
yeah,
that I'll watch like at least once or twice a year.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. I noticed Peacock just pulled everything off of it
yeah, it's
too.
all on Netflix now.
All the pay-per-views?
Yep,
Oh shit. Okay.
every Raw and every pay-per-view is on Netflix.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. I'll have to
yeah,
check
not bad.
that out.
Yeah,
I've been trying to cancel Peacock ever since, but they make it so hard. I couldn't even figure out how
I
to do it.
know.
The QR code on my TV one, never mind. All right. All right. I'm gonna go with my next one, and I'm gonna go with the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
Love that pick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was sort of Steve Austin before Steve Austin in a way,
sure.
because he started as a heel, and I don't know where the face turn really happened. Like the fans just started liking him, and I think
Yeah,
they had to turn him heel. And they stripped Shawn Michaels of the Intercontinental title. I guess it was drug related, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, he went away for a little bit.
and so then they had the battle royal, and the last two would fight for the vacant title, and he was just the baby face ever since. And I don't know if his run as Razor was bigger than his Scott Hall run in the NWO. I won't die
Well,
on the hill for that, but
yeah,
just so many good matches, so many good angles. His probably my favorite match. Everyone will take the ladder match,
sure,
but
yeah.
I really liked his match with Diesel at SummerSlam with Walter Payton
Yeah, oh,
as
yeah,
like
yeah,
special enforcer.
yeah.
That was probably my favorite Razor match. But
I
and
heard
then
that, I heard that that they missed that they were forgetting a couple spots, and Walter Payton remembered everything after, like, one rehearsal and was
uh,
actually calling spots for them that they were forgetting.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a big deal, and I didn't really know who he was at the time, but they did such a great job in the lead up that, everybody,
yeah. They
became a
always did
Walter.
a good job with celebrity matches and stuff, and involving celebrities.
Yeah,
It's always
yeah.
been a part of it since the first WrestleMania.
If you go and listen to, shoot interviews, Scott Hall always has a great shoot interview,
Yeah.
and I think he's really fair in all of them as
Yeah, he
well.
seems,
Like,
yeah.
he takes accountability for some of his stuff, but I think he was a really unselfish wrestler throughout his career. He
Oh,
always
yeah.
put guys over. He always did the job.
Yep.
Um,
I
you
think he's the
know,
best IC champ. He's probably my favorite Intercontinental champ. Like, if you think of 90's Intercontinental champions, he's the first guy I think of.
it's either him or Sean, but yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. Um,
His character was just so likable, even if he was heel. He had his attire was always awesome.
yeah,
He had the vest and the raise, and he always had a nice color. It was
yeah.
great. His character was just great always.
His interviews were always good, and
Oh, yeah.
there was one. It was when he was in WCW. He was cutting a promo, and it was somewhere not in the arena, like at a bar. And he goes, and when I show up, I'm gonna kick your. And then he goes, he just live. He goes, can we say butt on TNT? They're like, yeah. He's just funny. I
He
don't
was
know.
great.
When he died, I was so sad. I
I know,
mean,
it's
I
tough.
don't think it was like a major shock because he had such a rough lifestyle.
Yeah.
Apparently, alcohol was his, Achilles heel, and he had quite the run there for 4 or 5 years of sobriety. He got with Diamond Dallas Page,
Yep.
who like really
Helps
recuperates a lot of
everybody.
wrestlers.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake was one, and I'm sure there's been some
Yeah.
others. He's working with Lex Luger now, just in terms of physical rehab. But
Yeah, yeah. Buff
um,
Bagwell.
oh, Buff Bagwell,
Smith, oh,
another
yeah.
one.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
had to get his leg amputated.
yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. It
Yeah.
seems like he's recovering
Yeah,
well.
he's doing good, yeah.
But yeah, and I guess like during the pandemic, he Scott Hall kind of fell off the wagon, and
Mm,
that just kind of
yeah.
ended up being his downfall. But yeah, but I miss him, and I still he's probably my favorite shoot interview ever. So
Yeah, he's great. It's a
all right,
great pick.
who's your next pick?
My next pick is gonna be, this guy right here, the Dead Man.
The Undertaker?
The Dead Man,
Okay.
right? I'm going the other way. Yep, the Undertaker. Nothing like that. The place going dark, the gong hitting, and
Yeah.
putting fear into little children. Having casket matches and buried alive matches,
He
and
had the most gimmick matches of
yeah,
everyone.
oh yeah, he had the first Hell in the Cell match, first casket match, buried alive match. His character, I think his character is probably the greatest character in WWE history. It's just he changed it throughout decades. It changed. He moved into the American Badass at one point. He was riding a motorcycle, and he got rid of kind of the dead man stuff. But
Yeah.
he had to change with the times, and he'd always changed with the times perfectly. And his character, he did it for 30 years, and he went 20-0 before he lost, 21-0 before he lost at WrestleMania. And he just had so much legendary things. He ran the locker room. He
He
was
did.
the head of the locker room, and he's just everyone knows the Undertaker. You know, I think he's just a legendary character.
He does a lot of shoot interviews now too that he's
He
retired,
does
and
now, yeah.
one of my favorite ones is when he kind of bashes Hogan, and spoiler alert, he's not
Yep.
gonna be on my list. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
I mean, I hated him. I'm sad that he died. I didn't, I don't wish bad
Yeah.
on anyone, but when he tells the story about Survivor Series 91 and he won the title that night,
Yeah.
and Hogan was like the corrupt politician, behind the scenes, and
Yep.
I don't think he wanted to give the belt up.
No.
And so the Undertaker did his tombstone perfectly, and Hogan acted like he was paralyzed in the ring,
Yep.
like his neck got wrenched, and
You got me,
but
brother.
yeah, that's what he said, but he was well enough to wrestle like 2 days later at that
Right.
one-off
He had about
pay-per-view.
that much space between his head and the
Yeah,
mat.
and apparently Shane McMahon backed the Undertaker,
Yeah.
which kinda, makes me feel better about it, but yeah, and the Undertaker versus the Undertaker, Survivor Series
Yeah.
94, I thought they
Yeah.
did a great job with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Hell in a Cell was so good, and
Yeah, he had feuds with so many people. Um, early on, like early on, he had a feud with Hogan, obviously, and then he had a great feud with Yokozuna.
yeah.
They had some great casket matches, and obviously his feud with Mankind was legendary.
Ye
He just had Paul Bearer was awesome.
Yeah,
The urn was awesome. It'd give him power, and his sit up is absolutely legendary.
yeah, especially early in his career.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the greatest gimmick wrestler of all
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Has to be.
All right,
There you
all
go.
right, we're getting deep in the list here. I've got
Yep.
12 of them. All right, this was kinda the '90s was kinda sorta the end of his run in WCW, but I really have to go or well, he did end in WCW, but, as far as his WWF went, 93 was his last year, and I'm going with the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Great.
Um, WrestleMania 8 is it was my first WrestleMania, and it's one of my favorites, and he fought Ric Flair, and I remember
Yep.
the lead up to that. That was like my first real, um, my first real, the words like escaping me.
I think like that you remember
Like a
live, like
program.
watch it.
No,
Yeah.
it was like the lead up. Like
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
they did like a 2 or 3 month
Yep.
program leading up to it, and
Yep.
Flair was just such a hateable champion, which to his credit, I mean, that's his job to be hateable.
Right.
And and he only got the title at the Royal Rumble, but they did
Yep.
the affair angle with Miss Elizabeth, and even
Yeah.
as a 9-year-old, I'm like, that mother,
Yeah. All the pictures and stuff.
and yeah, and I don't know, he was just such a cool champion, and
Yeah.
I'd gone back and seen his late '80s run when he won the title at WrestleMania 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I know this is supposed to be '90s, but when he dropped the title in '89 at WrestleMania 5 back to Hogan, Bruce Pritchard has said a lot on his podcast that leading up to it, even as a heel champion, business was so hot. Like he was selling out arenas, and he was just such a good. I think he was kind of ahead of his time because the big musclehead guys like Hogan and Don Morocco and Andre the Giant, and Randy was agile and could do
Yep.
everything. He could be aerial, he could be technical, and
Definitely. That's why him and Rick were such good matches.
yeah, just the chemistry was good. I like the finishing
Yep.
move,
Yeah.
the elbow off the top
Right.
was pretty good, and
Yep.
so yeah, I don't know, Savage is my
Yeah. I
favorite.
mean, like his outfits were always,
Oh, I know.
always
Yeah.
like that's always part of it. Like he catches your eye when he walks down. He's got the colors, and he's got Miss Elizabeth, who was like the hottest chick ever.
Yeah.
It's
I heard Shawn Michaels talk about in an interview recently. I think the interview is like 20 years old, but it was only like recently released. And he was always impressed with the Macho Man's attire. And he goes, "Hey man, who does your attire?" And Savage wouldn't tell him. He goes,
Yeah.
I'm not giving up my secret, you know. So it was funny.
Yeah, no, Savage. And then you're right, and they kind of gave up on him, and
I know.
they put him on the cans. They had him doing the calling Raws and stuff, and he was like, I still got it, and then he did, and he went to WCW, and he had some great years, some great matches in WCW.
Yeah, they put the belt on him a couple of
Yeah,
times.
yeah, and then
And
and he's still the Slim Jim guy to this day.
yeah,
They're still using him for
he's
Slim Jims.
been gone for 15 years.
Yeah,
And it surprised me. I've heard Jim Ross say a couple of times on his podcast that he didn't really care for Macho Man. Like the chemistry wasn't good, and apparently Savage was stubborn and wanted to do it his way. But going
yeah,
back and listening, I mean, I've watched WrestleMania 9 a bunch of times,
yep,
and I didn't notice anything.
yeah, no. Always good. They always, never showed it in the ring.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. But they said he was very paranoid backstage. He wouldn't let anyone talk to Elizabeth.
I heard
You
that. I
know?
heard that.
Yeah.
And he'd like lock her in the house so she couldn't get out with some TV dinners.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I kind of hope that's not true. It probably is,
It
but
probably, yeah, it's,
yeah.
yeah. But
And when
he,
Hogan showed up with the black eye at WrestleMania 9,
yeah,
apparently that was Savage.
yep,
So
yeah,
I don't know.
definitely, yeah.
It's too bad we didn't get like a definite answer on that before he died, because
I
they're
know.
both dead now. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
like
I know. Most of them are.
both of them took it to the grave, whether
I
it was a
know.
jet ski accident or a punch.
I know.
Because
Yeah.
I would have rooted for Savage a million times over on
I
that.
think it was. I think it
Okay.
was. I like to think it was at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hated
Yeah,
Hulk Hogan.
and he was I know, and Savage, I mean, he was so paranoid, when, when Jake the Snake had his cobra bite him, he made he made Jake have the cobra bite him first. He said, "If I'm not doing this, I have to watch you get bit by this snake before I do this."
Well, in Savage's defense, I'm not getting bit by any
That's
snake.
fair. Yeah, it's very
You
fair.
know?
Me neither. Absolutely not.
There's very few things I'm afraid of in this world, but snakes is one of
Yeah.
them. I like if I found one in the house, I'd scream like a girl.
Oh,
Like I
definitely.
would.
Definitely.
Like, and I live in South Carolina, and I'm not like a snake expert, but I see them in my yard. I'm like, geez, is this
Yeah.
poisonous? And I
Yeah.
worry about my dogs getting bit, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
And so
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
my brother is terrified of snakes, and he swears it's because of that. Saturday morning,
Yeah,
got up to watch wrestling, and there was a cobra biting Randy Savage.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty traumatic, you know, as a child to see that.
Yeah,
And then SummerSlam 91 when they do the wedding thing, which I thought was stupid. I
yeah,
wasn't into
yeah,
that, but then
right.
they get jumped by Savage and no, I mean by Undertaker and Jake the Snake. And I
Yep.
think Jake had the snake in that
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So who's next on your list?
Next on my list, let's see. I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna go. I think not so. Damn. Who am I gonna? It's tough. All right. So I'm gonna go with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
Okay. Not probably the most unlikable wrestler backstage after hear everything that actually went on. But when I was young, I didn't know any of that.
True.
Right. And Shawn Michaels created Degeneration X, created this, created Suck It, created the Sweet Chin music. I mean, he was awesome. And he was great in the ring. He was a great character. Whether he was heel, whether he was babyface, he could do it both. And, he very problematic. Once I got older, I realized a lot of things I didn't know. You know what I
Shawn's
mean?
not a good guy.
But, not at all. But, when I was a kid, he was awesome. And I'll never forget his Iron Man match with Brett and, coming down from the rafters at WrestleMania 12 and Uh, obviously we mentioned the ladder match, and he just has so many matches, and even later in his career, he had some great matches. When he came back in the 2000s and like the late 2000s, he had some great matches, and he's one of the best to ever do it without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell the story of the 1990s without Shawn
Right.
Michaels, and I really, I mean, I was kind of a fan. I enjoyed 1996 when he had the title for
Yep.
most of that, but
Yep.
he was so good as a heel, though. Like he was a
Yeah.
natural heel. He made it so easy to hate him.
Yeah. When he turned on Marty Jannetty,
Oh,
the best. He
that's the
kicks him through the barber glass.
second greatest heel turn of all time. Number
So
one's
good.
obviously Hogan at Bash
Right.
at the Beach, but
Right.
man, when he did it, and then Bobby the Brain Heenan was so funny. He's like, that coward Janetti tried to dive through the window to get away. Like he was Bobby Heenan was so like, I appreciate him way more as an adult on commentary.
Oh, he's so funny.
Like shit just went over my head as a kid,
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the barbershop thing was good. And
Yep. And when I go back and I'm watching, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna watch just all the WrestleManias, and I'll start at the first one, and you go through them, and it's like, well, him and Marty Jannetty were at like WrestleMania 2, 3, I'm pretty sure, something like that. It's like he's been there for a long time.
yeah.
He did the tag team thing, he did the IC, and then he worked his way up to the title.
Yeah, just like Brett did.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he did hold the tag title later on with Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
I guess I heard a story that him and Marty Jannetty did win the tag titles one night, but the ring fell apart.
Really?
And
Oh man, I don't know that.
yeah, you haven't. So the top rope came apart, and you can't do, the ring is useless even
Yeah.
if it's just one corner. Like
Right.
the ropes just don't stretch.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And so they tried to make the best of it. The Rockers won the titles,
Yeah.
and it wasn't a live show. So, and
Right.
then I guess after, they didn't want to air it because of the ring, and apparently Vince just changed his mind on the whole thing. He's like, maybe they shouldn't have the titles, and they never
Yeah.
got them because
That's crazy.
they were one of the original like high flying tag teams.
Definitely.
And they had cool attire, cool entry music.
Yeah, cool name.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it didn't work. And if Marty Jannetty, I always wonder what he could have done. He wouldn't have been as great on the microphone, I guess, as Michaels, but man, he could work as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So glad you didn't take him. I was gonna be so sad. I'm just gonna say Mick Foley. I think I like
he
the
was gonna be my
Mankind.
next.
Okay.
Good pick. Good pick. Good pick.
Yeah, when he won the title, and I can't remember if it was Jim Ross or Michael Cole on the microphone, but they didn't say Mankind won the title. They said Mrs. Foley's little boy is now like the
Jim
heavyweight
Ross, yeah.
champion. That was just such a great call.
So good.
And it was sort of not so much controversial for WWF, but for WCW, because Tony Schiavone gave it away and then lost his entire audience because they wanted to watch Mick Foley win it. Because back then, before the internet, I mean, the internet was kind of big, I guess, by 99, but they would do a live Raw the next day on Monday, and then they do the next Raw one night later, but air it the next Monday. So he won it on the taped Raw, which sounds weird to me, but it ended up working brilliantly.
Yeah.
And he got the belt, and he didn't really have a long run with it, but it was good. And he was just so goofy and so funny.
Yeah, and he gave you everything. I mean, he gave you 3 different characters.
Right.
I mean, coming in the Rumble as all 3 of them was hilarious.
Yeah.
And he did everything. He did everything. He put his body on the line did anything to just entertain.
I mean, that Hell in the Cell. I mean, I remember that King of the Ring in '98, and it didn't really have a lot going for it. I think Ken Shamrock won it later that night, and
he did.
And who had
the main event was Stone Cold, and it was Stone Cold and Kane in a first blood match was the main event.
Oh, that was that one. I'm getting,
Yeah,
yes, you're right. Yeah, and then Austin lost the title, but then
yeah,
won it back the next night.
yeah, on Raw. Yeah,
I was so mad when he lost it that night, and
I
then the next,
know. I was.
like
Yeah,
I was so depressed. I think school was out at that time. It was in June, but I was like, I didn't like, I was so depressed. And then Raw
and then,
starts and they announce and then he gets it back.
yeah,
But
but
getting
yeah, I
back
mean,
to Hell
yeah,
in the
I mean,
Cell.
when if someone told me they've never seen wrestling before, I put on the '98 Hell in the Cell Undertaker versus Mankind. And I say, watch this.
He went off the top, which I guess was planned. That was a
Yep,
planned bump, and then they're hauling him out, and then he comes back and he climbs up. And if my memory is correct, he wasn't supposed to fall through the cage again. It just gave out.
I think they said it was supposed to slowly. He was supposed to go like one, and it was supposed to break, and then another one was supposed to break more, and then like a third one, it was supposed to break through, but like softly was his
Okay.
plan. And then the first choke slam, he just went right through it.
And they had a chair up there,
Yeah.
and the chair came down with him and then knocked his top tooth through his upper lip.
Yep. Into his nose.
Oh, man, I remember
Yep.
that. That was so grotesque.
Yep.
And one of the funnier stories about that match was they had thumbtacks and he gets slammed on them. And then the match eventually ends and he's backstage getting checked out, for like a concussion. And he still has the thumbtacks all in him.
Oh yeah.
And the Undertaker comes in to check on him. And the Undertaker's first name is Mark. Well, his full name is
Yeah.
Mark Calloway. And Mick Foley says to him, he says, "Hey, Mark, did we ever use those thumbtacks?" they're all stuck in them. It's funny. Yeah.
Unreal. What a savage. Left on 2 stretches
Uh,
and just gave everything.
he was so funny.
So good, so funny. Had so many great matches for his Royal Rumble match with Triple H, Madison Square Garden. I think that's 99.
Okay.
99. Oh, it might be 2000. Might be actually Royal Rumble 2000. He has Cactus Jack. He has a great match with Triple H. More thumbtacks came out. He got pedigreed face down into the thumbtacks.
Oh no.
Yeah, that one's crazy.
Oh. And there was a match with The Rock where his kids were there and he took like 4 chair shots.
Yeah,
And
that's Royal Rumble. That's the year before the Royal Rumble
okay.
'99. Yeah, The Rock handcuffs his hands behind his back, hits him with about
Oh,
10 chair shots in a row. He's turning his back to him, trying to run away. The Rock chases him down, hits him again.
that's so bad. I think
Yeah,
they changed stuff after that to not do as many. I could be wrong, but
yeah. And now you can't at all. You can't hit in the head at all.
okay.
Chairs go now. A chair comes out. It's to the belly. They go down and then to the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because they had that class action suit in like
Yeah.
2017 or 18 with the CTE stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, can't do chair shots. All right, who's your next
Yeah.
one?
All right, my next one, we just mentioned him. I'm going with The Rock.
Okay.
Yeah. Most people didn't like him. Wasn't a fan. He was at the Nation of Domination. He was a heel, and then he left them because he started to get his catchphrases. That's the bottom line. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? And know your role and jabroni. I still call people jabroni to this day because of The Rock.
He would sing it to the tune of Heartbreak Hotel by
Yeah.
Elvis.
And he was the people's champion, the people's elbow. Once he got over, he was just so over.
He had to be a heel to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he got over, I was there for it and I was all about him and I loved The Rock. And even though his epic matches with Stone Cold, I was always Stone Cold.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was a big Rock guy all the way.
My first job ever, starting when I was 15, was McDonald's, and I worked there for maybe a year and a half, and so many of the people there were wrestling fans too. So many of my coworkers, and we'd walk around and be like, "Hey, do you like Big Macs?" And they'd go to answer it and be like, "It doesn't matter if you like Big Macs." So all day, all shift long, we would be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
He
he
had
was
so
funny.
many. He was the best, one of the absolute best on the mic for
Y
sure.
yeah, and I saw some clips, I can't remember specifics, but he'd get so many people to break character and just laugh. It's just
Yeah.
they'd be supposed to be
Definitely
a
so
heel
funny.
and
Yeah.
yeah, he's good. Yeah, I guess I'm just more partial to Stone Cold, and that was kind of the rivalry.
Yeah.
I guess he finally did return the favor in what, 2003?
Yep.
He put Rock over.
Yep. They had 3 WrestleMania matches, and Stone Cold won the first 2, and then The Rock won the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The first 2 was in his prime, so
Yeah.
that
Great
was
matches. Great match.
yeah. All right, let's just kind of move along here.
Yeah.
We're getting deep on my list here.
I know.
Um, I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go WCW,
Love it.
and I'm gonna take Rey Mysterio.
Okay. I love that.
Did I say okay? Didn't know if I sniped you again. I don't
No,
know. I mean,
he wasn't on my list, but he damn well should have been because that's a great pick.
yeah, I mean, I didn't really appreciate the Mexican lucha libre fighters until Guerrero, and I thought WCW, honestly, I mean, they did a lot of things really well when they were hot, but they
Yeah.
had a great cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
Jericho was big in that division for a little
Oh
while.
yeah.
Dean Malenko, and of course Mysterio, and
It was really what WWE at the time wasn't doing,
yeah, and
and that was really what they were nailing.
they tried it, and they had like
Yeah.
Taka Michinoku,
Right.
and
Right.
but it
It
just
was
didn't
fine, but yeah.
it
Yeah.
just
I
didn't
mean,
feel the
they had
same.
Eddie Guerrero. They had
Yeah,
Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, and Dragon. God,
Ultimo Dragon.
yeah, Ultimo Dragon. I mean, they had really really good guys.
Yeah, and and I didn't watch him win the title years later in '05.
Yeah.
As it happened. I have gone back since and
Yeah.
seen it,
Yeah. Same.
but
That was like
but yeah.
right after I stopped. I stopped watching probably like 02, 03,
Okay.
and then I got back into it I just got back into it like 3 years ago. So there was a
Okay.
gap. I had a big gap too, but I've gone back and watched like all of that.
Yeah. Um yeah, and another thing about Taka Michinoku, do you remember his finishing move, the Michinoku driver?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm surprised they allowed that. I'm like,
Dude,
that
yeah, they had some crazy finishes back then.
that could go sideways because I mean, some guys did. I mean, that Darren
Yeah.
Drozdov guy got paralyzed,
Yep. He did. Yep.
um, and then of course Stone Cold
Yep.
with Owen Hart,
Owen. Yep.
and so I don't know, but yeah, and Rey Mysterio still at it to this day and still looks
He
good.
he had a match on Raw last night.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. And
yeah.
his son is the Intercontinental Champion right now.
Oh wow,
His
I'll
son's a
have to
huge
look at
star. He's
that.
awesome.
Okay,
He's a great heel.
is he short like his
No,
dad
he's
or
tall.
he's tall?
He's like way bigger than Ray.
Oh,
And
geez.
coming up, he was like with Ray, and then he turned heel and turned against him, and
Okay.
calls him his deadbeat dad, and it's great. It's really good. It's really good.
And they did a weird angle with Eddie
Yeah,
Guerrero,
him and
didn't
Eddie.
they?
Yeah, yeah.
That
And
was so
they
weird.
fought for his custody.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now Dom is like a heel like Eddie was, and he calls Eddie his real dad, and he calls Ray his deadbeat dad. And it's great. It's great angles.
Yeah. All right, who you got next?
All right, my next one. I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm gonna go a guy like you did with Ray. I'm gonna go. Jeff Hardy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the Hardy Boys were the tag team for me of my era. From probably I would say from I don't know 96 on, they were probably the best tag team that they had. So many crazy matches. I mean, putting people through tables, jumping off ladders, having the whole TLC feud with the Dudleys and Edge and Christian, and he always stood out as the number one guy in all those feuds that got the biggest pops, doing the swanton bombs off the 20-foot ladders, and he's a guy that still resonates with people my age and people that watched him as, the guy that just everyone loved every time he came out.
Yeah, he came in kind of at the end of my run, but yeah, they were definitely probably the most high-flying tag team of all time.
Yeah.
And that was probably the best era for tag team wrestling that there ever was. And
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think because Edge and Christian and the Dudleys were there, that just helped make the Hardys even better because they had
Definitely,
good
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great pick. He wasn't on my list.
Yeah, they had the TLC at a SummerSlam and then the TLC at WrestleMania. I want to say 17. Great, just
Yeah.
fantastic matches.
All right. So with my last pick, I am going to go with Owen Hart.
Oh, great pick.
Yeah. He was such a great heel. He was funny and going listening to wrestlers like tell stories about him. Like the best one
Yeah.
I heard was him and Davey Boy convinced Ahmed Johnson that he was gonna go be on either Jay Leno or David Letterman that night, and he's like, "Yeah, Vince is gonna talk to you about it, but you're gonna be the guy to go on." So Ahmed goes out and gets a suit. He's walking around in the suit, waiting for his limo to come get him. That never shows up. That was the best rib, and come to find out, Ahmed Johnson was like one of the biggest morons, just not a good guy, and it was so disappointing because I really was a fan. I rooted for him all the time.
He had a great look.
First black guy to ever win the Intercontinental title. And I hated Goldust at the time too.
And he had a great feud with Farouk.
Yeah, and they both like injured the hell out of each other at various times, and I kept hearing stories how, like, I think it was WrestleMania where they did that the Chicago street fight where the Legion of Doom came back. Probably, by the way, my favorite tag team of all time.
Okay.
But apparently when they were in that match with he was fighting the Nation in that match with the Legion of Doom.
Yep.
And Farouk would just hit him with everything he could as hard as he could, just because it was Ahmed.
Yeah.
He was just gonna whatever weapons they had in the ring, he would just destroy Ahmed. So it was
That's
funny.
great.
Yeah, but Owen's
fantastic.
I just really enjoy the stories. Like apparently they were like in a tour in England or Germany or somewhere. It was an overseas thing, and Triple H was supposed to go over against Owen, and Owen put him into a backslide and wouldn't let him out and won the match. just stole the match. And it was just there's so many stories.
And he was pretty much just as good as Brett. He was maybe even better. I mean, he had a little bit more of an off the top rope game than Brett did.
Yeah, he more aerial, better on the mic as well. He was funny even as a heel.
He was very
And we've talked about the screw job earlier, and every so often I'm like, well, how could they have avoided that? How could Brett have dropped the title and left, and that never happened. And my alternate theory here, hear me out. I'd love to like pitch this to Bret Hart. Here's what I would have done. And it might not sound brilliant at first, but the more I've kind of thought about it, I'm like, this could have worked. Bret leaves Montreal with the title against Shawn. It was a DQ finish, whatever the plan was. The next night on Raw, it would have been cool if Brett said, this is probably my last match. I want to have it with my brother Owen. Drops the title to Owen Hart. Now that sets up an Austin Owen feud going into WrestleMania 14. And I think that would have been just naturally a good thing. They're both great on the mics.
Yeah, they had a feud already from him breaking his neck and stuff.
Yeah, and Shawn, I mean, that match was good, and the Tyson angle really helped at WrestleMania. But Shawn didn't really have a ton of heat going into it.
No.
And it was a foregone conclusion that Austin was going to win. But I think Owen would have just been so much more hateable. And they had
Owen would have been great.
The neck thing, and then he ended up tragically dying a year or so later. But I just wonder, I just think history would be so much cooler if Owen would have held the belt one time. And maybe if that did happen, maybe the Blue Blazer gimmick never comes back and he never falls from the ceiling.
Yeah. I love it. That's a great pitch.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
And I remember I wasn't watching that night. For some reason, I didn't get that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But I saw a news clip where they said a WWE wrestler had died. And I'm embarrassed to say this, but we didn't have the internet until like 2000 in my house.
Yeah.
And
like most.
And so I couldn't just like go online, and I called my friend. I'm like, oh my God, somebody died. And, and stuff wasn't necessarily quick to hit the internet, right away.
Sure. Yeah.
But he calls me back maybe 20, 30 minutes later, and he goes, I just found out who it was. And I'm like, oh my God, who was it? And he said, Owen Hart. And I'm like, oh my God, it was just so sad. And like everybody cried. Like,
oh yeah.
Like a couple of years before that, Brian Pillman died, and it was sad, but it wasn't. The guys never looked traumatized when they did the 10-bell salute,
right?
And but everybody, I remember Mark Henry just bawling his eyes out.
Yeah, specifically for sure. Remember that?
Yeah,
he's actually told stories that he trained in the dungeon with Owen a lot. That Owen really trained him a lot in the dungeon and helped him a lot. Because when Owen did join the Nation at a little time there, Mark Henry was like just starting.
Okay.
And said that Owen helped him a lot, and said that Owen was the funniest dude backstage, and that he would have beat up everybody too.
Yeah, I love a good Owen Hart story.
Oh yeah.
And if you want to, like, I don't recommend, if you don't like, this is for the audience, if you don't like gruesome, tragic stuff, don't do it. But Val Venus gives a really good account of what happened that night. And so does Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
And, it's just, you try to make sense of it. And apparently his wife got like $20 million in the lawsuit. It was supposed to be an undisclosed amount, but over the years, I guess it's kind of leaked out. But yeah, just, I don't know. And his match with Bret Hart to open up WrestleMania 10,
one of the best ever for sure,
was phenomenal. And it was such a cool story, because I was kind of rooting for Bret to win the title later that night, because Luger was going to get the first shot, and then Bret faces the winner. So like the storytelling was just amazing. Like, why would Bret lose going into that? And he did.
Yeah, he really put his brother over.
Yeah, and then I wasn't crazy about the cage match at WrestleMania 94, but it was kind of cool how the family was there and then all kind of got involved. And Bulldog hadn't even been on TV for a while, and that was kind of his comeback. And I think the Bulldog had basically from then through that 3-year run, I'm guessing he probably had his best years of sobriety at that point. I mean, he was busy. They had angles for him all the time. They put a couple of different titles on him. So, and then he had a run with Shawn there for a little while. So, but yeah. Anyway, Owen was mine. Great pick. Who's your last one?
My last pick, I'm gonna go with a WCW guy. if you don't think, if you think, you think WCW in the 90s, you think NWO, and then you also think Sting.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Sting's gonna be my last pick. Even before he was the black and white, and when he was the kind of the green, and he had the face paint, and he had great feuds with Ric Flair, in like the late '80s, early '90s, and then he changed to that kind of the Crow character, and he would sit up top with a bat and just watch, and come down and just beat the hell out of whoever was in the ring, and really won the crowd over, and really kind of took the crowd back from NWO, kind of. And he was the fan favorite when he was going against NWO. They always wanted to see him come in and clear house on them. And Sting was great.
Yeah, I like the Crow gimmick more than the
Yeah,
early '90s surfer dude,
yeah, yeah.
thing that he had going. And one of the cool things in history, and I only learned it in the last few years, the night Hogan turned heel, it wasn't a done deal going into the night because Hogan, similar to Bret Hart, was like, "Well, if I turn heel, I'm not selling much merch. It's gonna hurt my bottom line."
Yeah.
So Sting was actually the backup plan if Hogan wasn't gonna do it, and I don't know how that would have worked. Like Sting, similar to Bret Hart, was not good on the mic.
Right,
So,
right, right. That's
he's
kinda why his character just didn't talk.
yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah,
And so, as much as I hate Hogan, it kind of had to be Hogan.
yeah.
And then in Starrcade 97, apparently Hogan was supposed to drop the title to Sting, but being the politician that he was, didn't
Yep,
do it. And
yep.
yeah, Sting was great. Sting versus Undertaker with their, goth gimmicks in their prime. It's too bad we never got to see that.
I know.
Yeah.
That was a shame.
So, all right, we're pushing an hour. I didn't think it'd take that long to go through here, but
Yeah.
let's just spend like 10 minutes. Like, if you're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
watch a pay per view tonight from the 90s, which one is it?
If I had to pick one, I think I would go with I think I would probably have to say WrestleMania 10. I think would
Yeah, that was,
maybe be my number one. You get Brett and Owen starting it off with one of the best matches of all time, and then technically, and then you get Shawn and Razor with the first ladder match ever, which is fantastic. You get two Yokozuna matches. You get Brett winning at the end. It's Madison Square Garden. It's just great.
that's definitely, that's probably my second favorite WrestleMania of the 90s. Again, I really like WrestleMania 8.
Hmm.
That's not my favorite one. I'll get to my favorite one after, but Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper. I mean,
Yeah,
Piper was a legend, and I guess I didn't realize it until after his career was over, but he very seldom put anybody over.
yeah.
I mean,
He
I
respected
honestly,
Brett.
I can't think of another match where he got pinned 1, 2, 3. I'm sure there's
Uh,
got to be one or two, but yeah, and it was such a creative finish, where he was
yep,
in the
with the
sleeper
belt.
hold, which was
Yeah, yeah,
Piper's
yeah. They
finisher.
yeah they used the turnbuckle to
He kicked off the
kick
ropes.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brett got the title back. Yeah, that was just such a cool moment. And
yeah, that's great.
um, Randy Savage versus Flair, which I
Yep.
covered. Hogan versus
Sid.
Sid Justice with the
Yep.
Warrior running in. And as an adult, by the way, I don't like the Ultimate Warrior. I
And
mean,
I put him on the list, but yeah,
what a moron behind the
yeah, he's
scenes.
he's an absolute an absolute idiot in so many ways.
After 1991, he just was useless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But my favorite pay-per-view of all time is actually SummerSlam 92. And the greatest match I ever saw, in my opinion, was Brett versus Bulldog.
yeah. Wembley,
And just such a great
so
technical
good.
match. And, Bulldog ended up going over.
Yep.
And one of the things about it was apparently he was all coked out on drugs. And Brett had been trying to get in touch with him for like a month, and I guess Bulldog was out with an injury, and so he just hadn't been on TV, but he was like literally doing crack with apparently Jim the Anvil Neidhart and
Yeah.
doing all kinds of bad drugs. And
Yeah.
he showed up and, he was kind of heavy, and you can now I can kind of see it. I didn't
Yeah.
notice back then,
Right.
but I'm like, yeah, wow, he does look out of shape. And Brett went through the match with him and the night before, and Brett was like, he choreographed the match. Like, that's just the type of guy he was. Some guys just winged it and called it on the spot, but
Right.
by like the third or fourth move, Bulldog whispered to Brett, he says, "I'm fucked." He goes, I don't remember anything. So Brett had to call it, and it still ended up being the greatest match I ever saw.
Right. Definitely the greatest SummerSlam match ever, for sure.
Yeah, and the match with Hogan, no, excuse me, with Macho Man and Warrior. I guess that was a good Warrior match.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I forgot the finish. It was a count out or a disqualification or something. Savage, I think Warrior won it, but Savage kept the belt. But
Yeah, I think it is a count out.
The storyline going into it was Ric Flair was in one of their corners and nobody knew which one it was. And
Right.
WWF at the time did a great job trying to make it seem like he's going to be in Savage's corner. No, wait, maybe the Warriors. And it was just such great storytelling. And so that was a great match. Legion of Doom opening up against Money Inc.
Great. Ted DiBiase.
Yeah,
it deserves a shout out. Just one of the best heels of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. The stuff, his promos and stuff is just so good.
Easy to hate, but
yeah. When he brought a kid out and told him, if you can dribble this basketball 10 times, I'll give you $500, and let him get to 9 and slapped it away.
So, I hope they compensated that kid with something by the end. But yeah, he was just such a great bad guy.
Yeah.
I read that his son's gonna go to prison, I think.
Really?
Yeah. And his son was in the WWE.
Yeah,
for
he
a little
was.
while. Yeah. He apparently like stole money from the state like during the pandemic or something. But yeah, that sucks. But it was just such a cool setting too. An outdoor stadium.
Right.
I guess WrestleMania 9 was after that. So yeah, I guess it was pretty unique, and definitely my favorite. If I'm gonna watch something tonight, that's definitely one.
Yeah, my favorite single match would be Austin Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13.
Okay,
yeah, that's my number one match for sure.
That's up there. It's like a 1A and 1B, but yeah. Brett was in so many great matches. I mean, the Iron Man match, the opener with Owen, Steve.
Yeah, he has a few. There's In Your House, when they were doing the In Your Houses.
Yeah,
there's an In Your House, the Final Four, it's called. That's one of my favorites because it was after the '97 Rumble where Bret Hart eliminates Austin, and Austin sneaks back in
and wins
eliminates him and wins it. And so there was a vacant title. I think maybe Michaels had to give it up or something.
Yeah, he lost his smile.
Right. And they had the Final Four that were in the Rumble before Austin cheated, and it was Vader, Undertaker, Austin, and Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And they had a fatal 4-way in Your House. And the winner got the title, and Bret won.
And then lost it the next night on Raw to Sid.
To Sid, yeah.
That was so crazy. Like, yeah, and then so they end up putting it on Undertaker because I guess there weren't many options, and he was a safe guy to put it on. And and then so they go into WrestleMania. Now Brett's working with Steve, and they're like, oh, and by the way, it's a submission match. And Steve's like, well, what the hell? I'm not a submission wrestler. And Brett's like, well, I'll show you a couple moves and this and that. And, but then at the last second, they said no DQ. So that allowed more freedom in the match. And it ended up being what it was. Credit to Brett for doing it, for making it that. But yeah, that was 97. Like, if you ask me what the GOAT year was for WWE, 92 was so good. Like Royal Rumble
Yeah,
92, I think that was the best Rumble.
probably. Yeah.
I don't know if it was the best WrestleMania, but it was a really good one.
Yep.
And then SummerSlam 92. And I think Survivor Series was a little weak, but some weird stuff happened where the Ultimate Warrior got fired before it. So he wasn't in the main
Oh yeah.
event.
Right.
Mr. Perfect went from heel to babyface. But I don't know. That was a good year. But then 1997 was so good too, because that was a good
Right.
Rumble.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah. San
Stone
Antonio.
Cold cheating to win. That was
Yep.
great storytelling,
Yep.
you know? And, it was an okay WrestleMania. SummerSlam was really good. It
Yep.
sucked that,
Yep.
Austin got dropped on
Austin
his
first
head,
was it.
and
Yep.
they had that weird, if that match could have been normal, it would have been a great match.
Yeah.
And, Brett versus Undertaker. That was just such, I don't know. What was the GOAT year in your opinion?
I think for me it would probably be 90. I think maybe 98, the next year when Stone Cold had his run as champ. And
Okay.
and that I'm trying to think of who won the Rumble in 90. Oh, because he won it in 98 again.
He did. Yeah, he
He
came
won it
out
in
late.
98 again, right. And then he won at the WrestleMania in Boston, and then he had that whole year. I'm trying to think of SummerSlam.
He
Can't
fought the
remember the
Undertaker.
Undertaker at SummerSlam. Yep.
Yeah, that was at
Yep.
the Garden, and I guess that was like the highest grossing pay-per-view of all time.
Really.
So that might have been the height of
Hmm.
the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that year. Yeah.
Royal Rumble 94 was good with them both going
With the
over.
finish, yeah, the finish is great. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very good.
and
Yeah.
they did such a perfect job not knowing
Yep.
who hit the floor first,
Yep.
so that was perfect. And the cool thing about that was Vince apparently hadn't made up his mind which one was going to go over at Mania. So when they kept announcing each one as the winner, like you could hear the crowd pop, and
Mm.
Brett was getting the biggest pop.
Oh yeah.
So, so that perhaps that's what won him over. And the
Yeah.
other thing too, I read something really interesting. I can't remember if I showed this to you or not, but a lot of people like to debate why Lex Luger wasn't, he wasn't over more than he was,
Mhm.
and why he wasn't given the belt. And someone just kind of speculated he had like the lamest theme music of all time. It was some patriotic
Yeah.
thing, and it didn't really fire people up. They're like, if they just literally gave him a cooler entry theme
Sometimes that's
and
all it takes. Yeah.
maybe just got rid of the red, white, and blue, or just gave it a different look, he
Yeah.
could have been. Because Hogan, like a big part of it was his theme music.
Yeah. For
You
sure.
know,
Definitely.
his promos weren't, super great after like
Right.
year 3. He'd be
Right.
like,
Yeah.
something, Mean Gene.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he'd be praying to the gods and swimming across whatever big river was in that city. And,
All the greats have, like I said with Austin with the glass break, like all the greats have a song where you immediately know who it is.
yeah, yeah,
Brett had the screech or whatever it was to start the long guitar riff, or
yeah.
the Rock had his thing to start, and Undertaker had the gong, and a lot of guys have that immediate, who it is.
Brett did a shoot interview not that long ago, and I think Jim Ross and Jim Cornette were there. Jim Cornette's kind of a good.
He's crazy. Yeah,
If
he's
it's the
awesome.
right, if it's the right topic, that dude just
He's
goes
the
off.
best. Yeah.
And sometimes he'll just get up on his high horse, and so it's hit or miss. But
Yeah.
I do, and I think he's honest. I don't think he
Yes.
lies. Like I believe all of his accounts of stuff. But so it was like it was a shoot interview, but it was in an arena, a small
Oh yeah,
arena or
yeah, yeah.
whatever.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And Brett wasn't, I don't think he was announced to be there. And then the lights go out, and then his music hits, and the
Yeah.
crowd still pops. So
Oh
it's like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, man. But yeah. And yeah, so that was 94 was, one of the better rumbles.
Yep. And then WrestleMania 10 was 94.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That whole year was good, and then he dropped the title to Backlund. That was
Yeah,
weird,
that was dumb.
but they had to do it because they didn't want him to lose to Diesel, like, that would take his heat, so they put it on Backlund for, like, 2
Yeah.
days. Like, that was, like, the most, like, "What the hell did I just
Yeah,
watch?" ever.
yeah,
Like, Backlund got the
yep,
title. Yeah, so, anyway. Alright, well,
yeah.
you know what? I think we'll wrap it on
That
that.
sounds good. Yeah, that was great.
I have no idea how this is gonna go,
Yeah, that's
with,
all right.
the audience. Give
Yeah,
us some feedback if you
yeah,
guys think we should cover something else, just
yeah, let us know.
comment in the comments. It won't necessarily be me on everyone or Doug,
Right.
some of the other guys will mix in, but, just trying to just kinda keep things rolling here,
Yep, that was fun.
probably right around now, we're all getting baseball fever. I mean, we're what, less than a month from pitchers and catchers. So,
Yeah,
um, I guess tomorrow, or today, if depending on when you're listening, on Wednesday, they're going to introduce Ranger Suarez. I hope he doesn't take
right.
whatever Martin Perez's number was. A couple of guys have done that.
I hate when they have bad numbers. It
Yeah,
bothers me.
54, just don't
Yeah,
do it.
that stinks. Yeah, that number
Yeah,
stinks.
just
That's a football number.
pick something cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So we'll be back as stuff develops. Everyone, have a good rest of your week. Take care.